For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.
The Timeline is a Blue Wire podcast. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike. I'm here with Sam. Sam, you know the question. How are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not great, Bob. Punched in the gut there a little bit with just about as demoralizing a loss it gets at this level, right? But I don't know. I feel fine, though. I feel fine, to be honest. Lots of things we can talk about with this one. Just like a confluence of events spelling disaster for the Suns. Like, there's tons of different things that went wrong, but in the grand scheme of the series, I feel fine. How do you feel?
I feel it depends on Devin Booker. I'm just 29 minutes is very odd for Devin Booker. It could be as simple as he took him out and the Suns didn't make any run back, and so he didn't put him back in. Monty Williams being him, but I just don't want it to be anything more than that, because I just think it's very odd that he didn't play much beyond his first stint in the third quarter.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I don't really take anything weird from that. It didn't give me any strange vibes, but feel free to go full tinfoil hat on me for a second if you think there's more at play there.
No, I mean, it's as simple as this was the lowest amount of minutes he's played in the playoffs, and at no point did he take the 36-year-old Chris Paul out of the game to rest. And to me, to leave Devin Booker out of it at that point it's odd. It's a weird decision, and it's not normal to what Monty does too. I think we've become pretty familiar to how he does this. He gives his players a chance to get themselves back into the game, especially Devin Booker, who it's not like starting slow is like out of character for him. That happens regularly.
Happened literally in game 2.
He'll shoot himself back in.
Yeah,
exactly. There's nothing weird about that. So I don't think it was any benching based on that. So beyond that, it would be he didn't think the Suns had a chance to get back in it, which is a fair decision. But even just taking him out for more than 2 or 3 minutes and a half is something that he hasn't done in the finals so far. And even in the Western Conference Finals, it was a rarity for that to happen. So there's just something happening there that I didn't fully understand yet. And we're recording these for people who don't know. I think the people that listen to the ones after losses probably listen to all of them. So they do know.
You guys are the real diehards.
We record these immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, we record these immediately after the game. So, right now, I'll be waiting to see what Monty Williams says about it, because I'm very interested to see what he says.
Yeah, I trust the reporters to ask the smart questions there. We can be honest. Like, Booker, he was a 0. I mean, he was just a total 0 tonight. But I get what you're saying, right? Like, I guess, like, if Cam Payne had it going, there would be an argument that, well, Booker's like, he just doesn't have it. Let me send a message, bench him, and let's play our best lineup, which is Paul and Payne. Cam Payne also wasn't good tonight. So I hear what you're saying.
It's just odd, and I think it's out of character for Monty. And some people have noted that he was pulled early out of game 2, but the Suns, I think, were up by 11 when he was pulled, and there was less than a minute left, and he had played 44 minutes or something. So to me, there's nothing weird about him being pulled early in game 2. But this game, I think, was weird. And to me, the 3 for 14, like, that's bad. But, like, that wasn't overly... Like, I wasn't concerned that he was injured watching him shoot 3 from 14. I thought he was settling for threes a little too much early after making 7 in the last game. And I think he adjusted late and started hit a few shots, and then he was taken out. We didn't see him again. So it's just odd.
Got to give PJ credit, because I have... I've poked fun at PJ a little bit in this series. Love PJ, but in our pregame spaces, for example, I mean, I've kind of just insinuated that he's too old to have any impact in the series. tonight's a total game where he left his stamp on the game. I mean, he just goes out there, gets offensive rebounds, hits corner threes, and gives Booker some trouble on defense. We know Booker struggles to create separation against stronger guys. Credit to him. Played a great game. And obviously, for the Suns, I mean, I'm not angry tonight because, to be totally honest with you, I kind of just expected to lose this game. We were gonna get get Milwaukee. A team has never come back from down 3-0. I'm not trying to make excuses for the Suns, but we knew going in
Milwaukee's good.
We knew going in we were going to get a team playing with some level of desperation that they absolutely needed this one. They had to be playing to their best. Now, that being said, there are some things about the Suns' game plan that were puzzling about this one that I do want to talk about.
I mean, I'd like to talk. I'd like to hear what you think about that as well. But actually, go ahead.
Well,
I'd like to hear what you think.
It all comes down. I mean, here's the thing about the Bucks. We've talked about in the past. We talked after Game 2 about Drew and Chris needing to play better, but specifically about Drew and Chris needing to be better creators, right? It was this idea of creation is something the Bucks have always struggled with. You just take a cursory glance at the box score tonight. I see 6 assists to 1 turnover for Giannis, 6 assists to 2 turnovers for Chris, and 9 assists to 3 turnovers for Drew Holiday. Well, what went wrong? I think the big problem for the Suns in the first half, and they had good runs in the first half. They were up for a little while. They really just fell apart in that second quarter. They started guarding Chris Middleton in a way that they haven't in the past. And in the past, they sort of forced Chris to prove that he could step up and rise to the occasion as the secondary option in the Bucks offense. As we know, he struggled in Game 2. I think he shot 5 for 16. And I don't really know what it was. This is why it's puzzling to me. But so what the Suns did is they started showing on pick and rolls with Chris Middleton. In the first half only. Every pick and roll that Middleton was involved in, the Suns, it would be like Mikal Bridges as a primary defender, and then like Jay Crowder maybe was involved in the pick and roll action, and he would slide over and they would show a second defender at Middleton. And what it did was it just opened up everything else for the Bucks offense. I mean, suddenly he had open shooters. Credit to the Bucks shooters, of course, because like Bobby Portis, PJ Tucker, hidden corner threes, not something that always happens. Like they still had to capitalize, but it allowed him to break through the defense in a few occasions, like either get to the rim or create for someone else. But basically it took a guy whose playmaking in the past has been questionable, where you really kind of just want to play him straight up one-on-one and make him prove it. And in my opinion, at least, it made his job exponentially easier. And then at the end of the first half, Middleton had like 15 points and 5 assists. And the Suns were already down by like 10 points. Obviously, what they were doing in the first half wasn't working. And I was saying at halftime on Twitter, I was like, yeah, this whole showing a second defender at Middleton, they're not doing this. They weren't doing this in the past. They need to stop doing this. Monty comes out in the second half, and he makes the adjustment. The first couple screens, we see Giannis come. This is literally in the first minute of the third quarter. Giannis comes, he screens for Middleton. The Suns don't show anymore. Obviously, when you show, you've got like the low man who has to come over and tag Giannis. This time they were just switching it. They were playing it straight up. So if Middleton was on, if Bridges was on Middleton before, Giannis comes over and screens, well, now suddenly Crowder's just going to switch onto him. The problem was a minute and a half into the third quarter, DeAndre Ayton picks up his 4th foul. Yeah. And the entire game plan goes out the window from there. So I thought the Suns had a good idea to open the second half, and then I thought the Wings played a really strong rest of the third quarter. Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson, we should talk about him, and Mikal Bridges, they all had their moments in the third quarter. But once DeAndre Ayton, the real MVP of the Suns playoff run, I'm not afraid to say it, I've said it before and I'll say it again, once he came out because of that fourth quarter and the Suns had to run zone the rest of the game, it was just a math game. And at that point, they were just totally toast. Like Monty had the right idea, but they were just fucked. There was nothing they could do.
Yeah, and I think 13 offensive rebounds for the Bucks, and the Suns just, at once Ayton was out, the Suns just couldn't really get their hands on rebounds, and that resulted in Monty trying Frank Kaminsky again. And at that point, the Suns were already down, and the Bucks ended the quarter on a 16-0 run, including an extended stretch with Frank Kaminsky on the floor. It just didn't work, and it can't work. And he tried again, took Frank out, and you know, it's just not going to work with Frank Kaminsky. I think we're done with Frank Kaminsky minutes at this point, and it's a tough position. The Suns are going to be in a tough position without Dario Saric, because it's just another big guy that you can play that is gone.
Even for like 3 minutes,
point,
yeah.
Yeah, you just can't play him. You can't play him. And look, we joked about Scott Foster, and I'm not putting this all on him, but what I said to you when we were doing our pregame spaces is the only thing I'm worried about is DeAndre Ayton foul trouble.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm worried about in this game.
I think, look, I'll say to Suns fans right now, you can't blame this entire thing on Scott Foster. You just can't. There's so many things that went wrong for the Suns. So I just want to look, and I'm not saying you're doing that, Mike. I know you're not. I'm just saying because listeners will try to do it. This was not, however, Ayton impacts the game that much. And I did see a tweet, and I thought this was interesting. When people think about examples of elite foul creation, if you even consider that to be a skill, I mean, I guess it is, and talk about guys getting a good whistle in favor of them, at least in the finals. If we talk about finals history, one that routinely comes up, actually, is that Heat Mavs series in 2006 when Dwayne Wade shot like 1 million free throws. Ask a Mavs fan about this. They bring this up to this day because the Mavs came into that series as like a 67-win team or something crazy. They were supposed to be the best team. Giannis has more free throws through 3 games of the finals than Dwayne Wade did in that series. And that's like a historic example that, for my entire basketball upbringing, has been brought up, has been heralded as the example of like, oh, they're rigging it like they did for Dwayne Wade in 2006. And it's like, I don't actually think that's what's going on here. But I will say there are a lot of examples of just like Giannis, when he took Cam Johnson down, held him by the jersey for like 10 seconds, and it's like, what the hell am I supposed to do there? You can't, it's not fair at a certain point. But there are lots of other reasons they lost this game, to be clear.
Giannis just existing is unfair for the other team in a lot of ways. Just credit to him. We haven't even talked about it. He was incredible, and he was amazing, and he did basically everything that they needed him to do in order for them to win. 41 points on 23 shots is going to work really well when you have 17 free throws. But Monty Williams did say this. I just wanted to check some of the... I'm waiting to see. I'm going to keep an eye on Kellen Olson's Twitter here to see GOAT. When Monty or somebody talks about Devin Booker not playing, because I'm very curious. But here's something Kellen said on what you were talking about. Monty Williams said he was not going to publicly complain about officiating and foul calls, but cited the Suns' 16 free throws to Giannis' 17 of his own. This is a very, I'm not saying, I'm just saying moment from Monty Williams, which I think is as close as it comes to Monty Williams calling out the officials. He did it once in the Clippers series as well, and it's not a common thing for him. But I think they're all, look, I don't know what the tenor of the Suns locker room is when they find out that Scott Foster's officiating, but I imagine they're already pre-mad just based on Chris Paul's experiences earlier in his career, and you can see it coming out a little bit in these post-game responses. Because
Game 3 is not the only time this happened. Credit Zona Sports, our friend, who said on Twitter that Giannis has more free throws than the Suns do through 3 games too. So that's been true the entire series. But I don't really think it's like the way I'm watching it, it's not like I want the Suns to get more calls. The Suns are a jump shooting team. I think they're getting an adequate number of calls, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's more about what the hell are you supposed to do with Giannis? It's difficult.
I think they can get manhandled. Well, here's an example, more from Monty. He said it's hard to tell DeAndre Ayton what to do defensively to avoid fouls when guys are running into him. And he said he wasn't sure at times what legal defensive position is. And then he noted that it would help them to adjust if they knew exactly how it was going to be called, which I think is a fair thing to point out. Because from game to game, if it changes, which I think it did, and I even think from player to player it changes how they call certain things, that puts coaches specifically, and players, of course, in a tough position. And I don't think it's fair to blame this even on that entirely. I think it's as simple as Drew Holiday made like 4 threes off the dribble, and he has 5 for 10, 50% from 3. And the Suns shot 14% from 3 in the first half and ended the game with a disastrous, 29% better, but without a lot of attempts even for what they were capable of doing. And that's because of the Bucks and how they adjusted defensively, which is to not help off the corners in much and trust their guys to defend at the rim. And you can do that if Devin Booker's not going off, right? You can afford for the Suns to shoot badly from 3 if Chris Paul and Devin Booker are getting theirs. But you can't afford for them to shoot badly from 3 if Chris Paul and Devin Booker aren't hitting it, and vice versa. If Devin Booker struggles, you can win a game with the rest of the team hitting 3-pointers, and you can't the other way around.
The way I look at it is I don't think you can break down this game by saying it's any one thing. I know we're going to look at how the mainstream media covers it tomorrow, like First Take or whatever, and they're going to break it down as one thing. But like a bunch of things happened to the Suns tonight that I think each resulted in a swing of like 5 or 6 points by itself and collectively opened the floodgates to just be a disaster game. So Devin Booker played like shit. They didn't make shots that they usually do from three. That's like 5 or 6 points that could have been added to the board. They missed their free throws. That's another 3 points that could have been added to the board. Scott Foster, that's like a 5 or 6 point swing right there. Seriously, linked to Scott Foster then, of course, though, is if you get Ayton out of the game, this was the first game where the Bucks dominated with size. They had 13 offensive rebounds to the Suns 6. That adds another 5 or 6 points to the board. So, everything kind of just compounded on top of each other, but I don't think it was one thing exactly. Just that they played bad. They just played bad.
Yeah. That's where it really boils down to that. I think what the Suns are thinking, right, their perspective why they're angry, it's probably because they see Giannis bouncing off guys and getting the call every time, and Devin Booker bouncing off guys and getting calls maybe half of the time. And I think that difference will probably be frustrating for them. The hilarious part, as you've noted, is that one guy, and this is by idiots for the record, has been labeled someone who's foul hunting, and one guy is not. And and look, I think it's funny. I do find it funny.
Darn foul hunter with his 5 free throw attempts tonight.
Yeah, I do find it funny when people say, well, Giannis is getting fouled a lot because he can't make his free throws, as if that's some sort of defense for him. It's just a funny thing. He can't shoot free throws.
As if the ref is standing there with the whistle pitying him, like, guys, relax. We know he's going to miss, so we have to give him the call.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Ro. Confidence is everything. Women can sense it, and trust me, they love it. But if you're in your head worried about performance, that swag, unfortunately, gentlemen, it's gone. Ro Sparks keeps you ready. When the moment hits, you can step up like a superhero and handle your business. No doubt, just confidence.
Fellas, Ro Sparks gets you ready fast, dissolving under your tongue and working in 15 minutes on average. No waiting, no missing the moment, plus it stays active up to 36 hours.
So when the mood hits, you can go back to back to back, round after round after round. Ro connects guys with medical provider 100% online, so there's no awkward conversation with in-person providers. Go to ro.com/sparks to see if you qualify. If prescribed, new sexual health patients gets $15 off Sparks on reoccurring plan. Connect with the provider at ro.co/fourth to find out if prescriptions Ro Sparks are right for you. That's ro.co/fourth for $15 off your first order. If approved, treatment ships directly to their door. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and or manufacturing review. For full safety information, go to ro.co/safety info.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnyWalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.
Who played well tonight? Do you want to highlight
Cam
anyone?
Johnson.
Let's talk Cam Johnson. I will cherish
the second best center on the team right now, I guess, right?
Don't do that. Oof.
That's where we're at. He came in when DeAndre Ayton came out, and he did all the cutting that a center does. And look, he didn't really hit threes the way he normally was, but he was finding his way to the basket. He had the best highlight of the Suns in the postseason so far, which I hate when things like this come in a loss.
Back-to-back highlights. But the best.
The poster
on
PJ Tucker was one of the greatest things I've ever seen a Suns player do individually in a game. Like I said, it sucks when those things come in a loss, but a remarkable play regardless.
Oh,
yeah. And I just thought the way he was moving off the ball, the way he was finding creases in their defense, even when he had the ball, was really impressive. And I think they had to count on him and guys like Mikal Bridges, who struggled, I think, by the way, to handle the ball more in that full court press. Cameron Johnson did the best of any of the wings there besides the obvious of Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
Not just a shooter. We've been saying.
Yep.
we've been saying. And that dunk, I mean, it sucks to like celebrate that dunk in a 20-point loss, man, but you have to. Like that was fucking sick. Like Amari, how many games did Amari play for the Suns in the playoffs? Over 100?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And he never had a dunk like that. Come on. He didn't. No. Like he had dunks like that in his career. Like him over.
I mean, that was the closest to
the Tolliver
Tom
dunk?
Chambers. Right?
Oh, Tom Chambers over Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson.
They should have brought that up on the broadcast. And then he comes over.
If they were TNT, they would have.
He comes back. They would have with the Photoshop and everything. And then he comes back with the nasty scoop layup on the next possession. Like he goes, he goes fucking full MJ.
Dr. J.
He goes full MJ with the facial on Tucker, and then comes back Dr. J's at the next possession. Like, who is this guy? I love Cam Johnson, man. A little bit of joy to brighten up that game. I know people are mad, people are sad, whatever. I think this team's fine. I honestly,
the Suns are up in the finals. I mean, at the end of this game, they're up 2-1 in the NBA finals.
Right.
That's and look, it should be said too. The Bucks are 8-1 at home in the playoffs. Beating them at home is one of the most difficult things to do. The Suns' goal going into this, obviously, they want to sweep. They want to win every single game. But winning one in Milwaukee would be huge for the Suns. They would literally be the second team to beat the Bucks in Milwaukee in these playoffs. That's how good they've been at home. The difference between them on the road and at home is vital. And look, if we want to go back to it, this is why they played so well in the regular season. This is why they valued regular season wins, having the advantage of owning home court in the playoffs. That's going to matter in this series as much as any. Because of how good they are. Winning one now would be huge in the next game on Wednesday.
And can I just reiterate, like, just DeAndre Ayton is so valuable. I really think if the Suns had committed to what the game plan was coming out in the third quarter, that things could have swung a different way. I'm not promising that they would have won. They were down by 15 at that point. That's a really big hole to dig yourself out of.
Yeah.
But, like, Bud is still confusing me. The Bucks won this game by 20. And I think the Bucks' game plan is sound. I think the math behind it makes sense for what the types of shots they're trying to force the Suns into. His rotations are still confusing. Like, you had a game where here's the thing. Like, the reason they went down in the first quarter in the first place, why bring Bobby Portis and Jeff Teague into the game with like 5 minutes left in the first quarter? Like, that was a thing that Bud did, and he adjusted. He brought his best players on the floor in the second quarter, and they made a run. But, like, in a game where you have the size advantage, you took DeAndre Ayton out of the game, you forced them into small ball. Why is Brook Lopez only playing 21 minutes? I don't really get it. Like, I think the Bucks had ways. Like, I think the Bucks were served a golden platter of bullshit from the Suns tonight that this could have been a 30-point blowout. I think it could. I still think they're leaving points on the table, to be honest. I'm not trying to take away from what they did tonight because they spanked us. Like, I respect that. But
they were great.
There were enough puzzling decisions from the other side. And I would go so far as to say that our buddies, Ty and Rohan, especially Ty, because I saw him tweeting about this in the first half, would back us up on this from the Eurostep podcast that covers the Bucks. I think they would. There are enough puzzling decisions from the other side that it gives you some confidence if you're a Suns fan going into Game 4.
when Thanasis came in non-garbage time, I was like, what is happening? But I think they got a good Bobby Portis game. And look, maybe you look at the stats and you think 4 for 11, that's not that great, whatever you want to say. But no, this was a good Bobby Portis game. He played 18 minutes. He had 8 rebounds in that time, including 4 offensive rebounds. That's the type of thing that when they talk about weaponizing their size, that's the type of thing that they're talking about. Exactly that. Having guys come in off the bench and getting 4 offensive rebounds. I mean, 4 offensive rebounds off the bench is a rare thing in the NBA. So you gotta celebrate that for them. And I think a big part of the second quarter is when they lost it. Right? They scored 17. The Bucks scored 34. 35, I think, is what they ended with. It's as simple as that. That's kind of where the game was over. Yeah. And a big part of that is Devin Booker going 3 for 14. I don't blame people for losses, and I think sometimes if we just talk about something, people say we're blaming people for things. I don't do that because I don't think that's how basketball works. One person being really bad can make a team worse, obviously, but there's more than that. that goes into it. But if you can pull ahead that much when he's struggling, it's going to be difficult to eat your way back into that lead for the Suns and get back into it, especially if they are struggling from the 3-point line, which is kind of the great equalizer when it comes to coming back in games. And they didn't have it from 3 in this game.
Okay, here's an obvious thing that we haven't touched on yet that we need to before we hit the 30 mark here. Sorry. I'm looking at... Okay, here it is. Sorry. 2:37 left in the third quarter. Frank Kaminsky enters the game for Jay Crowder. The score is 85-76. That's a game. Like with how well we talked about Cam Johnson, with how well Chris Paul hit a couple shots, Jay Crowder hit a couple shots. They were down by as little as 6 during that run, or 4. I think it was even 4 at one point. The Bucks made a couple. I mean, Drew Holiday was hitting big shots too on the other end. But the point is,
that's the main thing that they got in this game that they can't count. Frank, I think 5 for 10 from 3.
Frank comes into the game. It's a 9-point game. There's 3 minutes left in the third quarter. I think it's fair to say why. Like what? Like I know Ayton's playing with 4 fouls.
Oh, absolutely.
Ayton's playing.
No. It does not matter because that's the game. That stretch right there where the Suns can eat back into it and try and get closer. That's the game at that point. So I think you bring Frank Kaminsky and you're ending it for them. Like you're absolutely handing the game over to them.
So then,
and yes, you're scared off of offensive rebounds. That's the entire thing that he was doing. He was scared of offensive rebounds.
So, but then I almost feel like I feel bad about this. Like I feel like we buried the lead a little bit. You said that not playing Booker in the fourth quarter or most of the fourth quarter was like the most puzzling decision for Monty. But isn't it that? Isn't it not bringing in Ayton?
No.
Who gives a fuck if he has 4 fouls? It's the finals. If he fouls out, then so be it.
You're fouling him out. You're fouling him out for them. I think at that point, look, is there an argument to say that they put Ayton in and he fouls out in like 2 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah. It's an absolutely true thing that could have absolutely happened in this game because of the way that it was called, and I think the way that Ayton was playing too. It's partially on DeAndre Ayton, but you have to force the refs to make some decisions at some point. You have to trust your players, and that's a huge thing. Put him back in, let them fight into it, and then look, if he fouls out, then you go small and you try and count on your guys to outrun them and out-effort them because you have momentum on your side. If you hand over the momentum to the other team, you're handing over the game at that specific moment of the game. And I think Monty is the type of guy to try things. Like, let's see if Frank works here. And you can't do that now. Like, fine, you did it in this game, and it didn't go well in the last game either. But you can't do it now.
I think the only reason I'm laughing and not like yelling is because the second that he picked up his 4th foul, I'm gonna be honest, like I was just like, well, that's the game. Like, if I really was holding on to more hope, then I would be angry about it. And I think Suns fans have a right to be angry about that because you're conceding the game. That was the white flag. Hopefully he learns from that. 24 minutes from DeAndre. At least he's well rested for Game 4, right? I've been talking about
him and Booker.
Yeah, him and Booker. I've been talking about how Ayton's not used to logging these 40+ minute nights. Well, now he just had 24. Hopefully he's well rested.
Here's the other part. 2 days between games. You're giving Devin Booker 29 minutes. If you're going to claim that that's to rest him, there's 2 days between these games. They're not playing tomorrow. So this is I just don't fully understand exactly what happened.
Tinfoil hat Mike.
I think, look, you and I, at some point, somebody asked us to give our assessment of Monty Williams so far, and my whole thing was you can't judge a coach till the playoffs. And here's the thing. Monty's been really great in the playoffs. Really, really great. And I think this was the most puzzling game for Monty Williams so far. And look, you get punched in the mouth really hard. Maybe you make...
To be honest.
You get punched in the mouth really hard. Maybe you make a few dumb decisions and you come back from that after watching the film and you say, why did I do this dumb thing? I can come back. Here's what I do when this happens next time. And to his credit, they have been consistently one of the most prepared teams in the playoffs, maybe the most prepared teams going into every single game. So I know doom and gloom for so many Suns fans right now. It's a good time to put Twitter away for a little while because people are either going to be doom and gloom or the people are going to be talking shit all over the place from other fan bases, and let them have their moment, whatever.
Fair.
But I think that for Monty Williams and the Suns, there's a lot to learn from this one, and they made a lot of mistakes. Is there any specific adjustments that are going to stand out to you other than playing your best players more?
Well, play your best players more, but like I said, kind of to start it, don't play Chris Middleton the same way. Play guys straight up and force them to live up to what they need to be in order to beat you. And if you can do that in addition to getting a nicer whistle, and Devin Booker plays like Devin Booker, then I think you have a good formula to win the next game. Simple as that.
Yeah, and you shoot over 30% from three would be nice.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we wasted a good Jay Crowder game tonight. He shot 6 of 7. You know what that means?
Somebody pointed it out. He's been better on the road in the playoffs than he has been, significantly better in shooting at home.
Weird.
So I don't know. It kind of fits with his personality, kind of, though, right? He's an antagonizer, so of course even his shooting is just to antagonize the fans of the other team. It's just like built into who he is as a player. But yeah, I think they're gonna have to. Mikal Bridges had 4 points in this game. Like, we have to just address that. But here's the main thing: he only had 4 shots, and a huge part of what the Bucks did was to limit that. They're just kind of yo-yoing back and forth from guarding threes and not guarding threes at this point, and they did a really good job. They did a really good job staying home on the shooters and still forcing Devin Booker to struggle. Like, I don't know that you can get away with Devin Booker taking like 5 3-point attempts in the first quarter again, unless he makes 3 or 4 of those. Like, you can't. I just don't understand why he was settling for the 3 so early in the way that they were defending him. You got to get to that mid-range. You got to put pressure on them to foul you, or put pressure on the rim to open up other guys. But if he's not going to get past that first line of defense and he's going to settle for that 3-point shot, there's not a lot of guys that you can trust to do that on this team. Like, Chris Paul and Devin Booker have to get past that first line of defense in order for other guys to be open. And that 2 for 4 from Mikal Bridges, combined with a bad game from Devin Booker, to me is not a coincidence. Those guys, the way that the ball penetrates is what has a massive effect on how other guys get open shots. So it'd be nice to see him work a little harder to get into the paint.
Yeah, I agree. He needs to be better, straight up.
Hey, 2 more games. Wednesday night game in Milwaukee. The Suns will have a chance to come back to Phoenix up 3-1 and then get that home court and crowd on their side. And I think this is it. I think for the Suns, in a lot of ways, stealing one early in Milwaukee should have been, or is the most likely scenario where they can come back home and actually win. So I think that obviously the next game is very, 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 very important. I don't want to come back 2-2 and then all the pressure's on Phoenix at that point. So game 4 is obviously going to be huge. Wednesday night, we'll be online talking about it ahead of time, and then of course we'll be back after the game. You got anything else before we go here?
Nah, just, you already said this. Try not to drive yourself crazy online for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Got a long way to go.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, shout out to you guys who listened to these ones after the losses.